listening to The Two Marks exclusively on the Pod Station.
Welcome, listeners, to a new show brought to you by The Two Marks. This time we are embarking on a vicarious journey of discovery through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hold on to your hats as we follow one person's experiences watching all 28 movies in chronological order. This episode we're reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy, Welcome to the Marvel Marathon, and a little bit more. Let me introduce my friend and co-host, Mr. Mark Pollard Ali. Do not mention what you would mention every week.
No, I'm not going to. What I was actually going to mention about your intro was the fact that stumbled entry sounded very much like the start of a tune that would feature in this film.
It would actually, wouldn't it? Because the music's
a bit like Ooga Chaka, Ooga, you know, that kind of...
That's true. The soundtrack was a wonderful on this, wasn't it?
Oh, mega. I love the soundtrack in this film.
If you're wondering why the sound's just gone massively loud...
That's because you were getting further away from your mic, so I turned you down, and now I've turned you up, and you're now going to deafen us all by moving it around and bumping and slomping and... prima donnas.
Sounds like one of my dates.
Should we introduce another prima donna?
Oh,
the gegger of the Guardians of the Galaxy. She'd geg into that, wouldn't she? The Guardians of the Galaxy were an actual thing. She'd be right on that.
Hell yeah.
They'd land and she'd turn going, wait for me.
I so would.
Wouldn't you?
I totally love this film.
Should we
don't spoil it.
Yeah.
We haven't even introduced you yet. You've already told us your result.
And the ranking down.
Who are you and what do you want?
I'm the gegger winner. This is my show.
Try again. So you are
Ishtar.
Yeah, you're enjoying this journey, aren't you?
I am.
Of discovery.
This slow and painful journey.
Yeah, but it's movie number 11 now.
We are cracking. I feel like we're starting to make it. This is the first time it feels like we're making some progress towards the finishing line, which keeps moving.
Well, listeners, for the record, we do make some progress. Then you two go on holiday. Then we make a bit of progress and you do something that's super, like get married.
Or then we wait 12 weeks for you to edit a show.
Oh, there you go.
Properly. Oh, I'll get me coat.
Where can they find episodes 9, 10 and obviously 11?
Apple.
I mean, if they're listening, one assumes they've already found us.
Apple Podcasts, Amazon.
Why is she telling you?
Last time seeing whether she listens.
Okay.
Stitcher, Deezer, YouTube.
You missed a big one.
Yeah.
Spotify.
And Google.
SoundCloud.
Not sponsor of the show. 2 marks at thepodstation.co.uk. Send us your check.
Pretty much all of them.
So yeah, check us on socials, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at the 2 marks. There's lots of pointless, useless shit, but hopefully it's slightly entertaining. So give us your comments on thoughts on our show, because, and we're obviously required to say this, we're interested in your feedback, but more interesting, we just want some debate. And if it's slagging us off, great. If it's not slagging us off, brilliant. And if you've got thoughts on the show, even better. So the film we're covering today,
Guardians of the Galaxy. Woo!
That was covered in the intro, guys.
Yeah, but I was just reiterating it because he asked me the question.
I think it was rhetorical.
Oh.
I mean, do we want to go around and find our initial thoughts, given that you've already told us about 4 times?
Best film ever! I love this film. Over to you.
What do you think about this film?
I mean, it's hard to disagree with that statement. I wouldn't say best film ever, but I absolutely love this film.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good for many reasons. The soundtrack, as we've covered, being one of them.
I mean, I didn't know anything about the Guardians prior to watching this film. Like, not a Scooby-Doo. I had no idea. And actually, when I first saw this, I think the first time I heard about them doing this was on the front cover of Empire magazine. And I thought it was just going to be a cartoon piss take, and probably I wasn't going to like it because it'd be aimed at kids. And so I had no expectations going into this film whatsoever, and then it delivers what it delivered, and I just came out utterly besotted.
Well, given that I hadn't watched any of the Marvel films before, this was actually one of the films that I have seen. So I'd already had like prior viewings, but without any of the context that we now have, given that we're going through the movies chronological. So that was interesting to watch it for the first time, knowing that now who the hell Thanos is, who the hell Ronan is and stuff like that. That was cool.
And we are all of an age where the soundtrack is quite nostalgic.
Reminiscent, yeah, of so many things. It is brilliant.
I mean, it was a risky one because nobody knew who the Guardians were. Well, sorry, that's not right. People would know who they are because they've been in the comics since 1969.
But only if you read the comics, not the general public.
But also, the difference being is in the comics, the current roster isn't the same as they are in the comics. You don't see the roster of the Guardians in
well,
this
it's like
film.
the Avengers, it constantly changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the people in this film aren't the original.
Right.
So they've been in the comics since 1969, appearing in the Mighty Heroes issue 18, and then they've been in the different comics across the time. And then obviously, well, not obvious to you, but in 2014, they ended up being in their own storyline.
All right.
But the people in this, which is an Easter egg, that by the time Stan Lee left Marvel, the new run of heroes he didn't create.
Okay.
So he wrote most of the stuff and kind of came up with them. So yeah, but we'll touch upon that later. But I thought it was really good. It was obviously a risk for them because it's not your
massive.
Yeah.
But it's the casting as well. It's epic in this film.
I mean, there's some big characters playing some
Massive.
pretty... So Rocket is played...
Bradley Cooper.
And
who knew? Vin Diesel's Groot.
I think I only figured out that those two people were playing those roles after the event.
I only realised when I watched it this time because I was actually paying attention. I was like, Vin Diesel's Groot? No way. Bradley Cooper's Rocket? No way. That's mega.
I mean, imagine someone like Vin Diesel who
I am
clearly has a high opinion of himself if you're going by the stories from Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Has a part where he has one word to say.
3 words, but yeah. I am
All right,
Groot.
yeah, sorry. One sentence, one phrase.
3 words.
Mega. I mean, the
And he says
casting's
that
fantastic.
in about 45
One
different
movie.
languages. Because it's been translated, hasn't it, across the world? So he has to say "I am Groot" in Spanish. It's like "Hola dia, buen dia, Groot." That's not Spanish. That is me just bullshitting.
What is? 'Cause
Me llamo Groot.
she speaks fluent Spanish.
Speriamo. That's Italian, isn't it? Speriamo.
I don't know. Don't know
Okay,
Italian. He knows Italian.
So let's go chronologically.
Okay, so my first statement was love Chris Pratt in this film. How amazing is he in terms of humour? What I love about Marvel, which you both know, is the humour. That's why Iron Man 3 didn't do it for me because it was too serious. And I feel like this film totally brings it back to Thor level funny because I love Thor because he's funny.
Which is ironic, seeing as the episode itself was hilarious, but you didn't find the episode funny.
What?
Iron Man 3. You've just told the listeners that Iron Man 3 is the funniest episode you've ever done.
Yeah, no, I mean the film.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying it's ironic that the film is...
The film
you
wasn't
didn't
great,
find funny,
but the episode is. But it's the same as the Hulk.
Yeah.
The Hulk was a shitty film, but the episode's absolutely hilarious.
So if this film's good, does this mean that this
No.
episode's going to be shit?
Well, hopefully not, because we're all on our game. But anyways, he's just... I just love...
Well, speak for yourself. I was asleep halfway through making the notes for this.
But like, I'd not known Chris Pratt before this film, because I don't think he'd been anything in any big...
No, yeah, not
He'd been
really.
in Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, so I didn't ever watch that.
He was fat Chris Pratt.
Was he?
He nearly didn't get the role because when they casted the people, he was a bit plump.
I mean, he still looks chunky with his clothes on. It's only when he took his clothes off and he was all ripped. So you're like, oh, he's ripped. But with his top on, he's got a chunky face about him, which that isn't criticism, people.
Chris Pratt basically made this movie in terms of his character and his humour.
I don't think he did make the movie. I think that's giving him too much. But as a character, he was phenomenal.
I loved it.
Marvel cast actors very, very well in roles because when you look at them, you will go, who could you ever envisage being Iron Man? There's no one else you couldn't replace Robert Downey Jr., could you? When you think Captain America, you couldn't replace Chris Evans. I know they've tried to, but like I'll stand by that comment. You can't replace Chris Evans.
No.
Tom Holland for me is Spider-Man, and they've cast other actors in roles really well. And I think Chris Pratt's Star-Lord, wonderful.
What do we like about Star-Lord, though? What's hitting our buttons?
Is that he's so down to earth and real, unlike us. Like it
He's
could be any
flawed.
of us.
He's like I am in my head.
Yeah, he's so cool, but in a non-conventional way.
Zero fucks are given.
Yeah.
He has a technology to support the thing, so he can fly through the air with the greatest of ease.
Yeah.
He is the man on the
thinks
giant
he's funny.
trapeze. Yeah, well, he is a bit funny.
And he's got great
No, but
taste in
he's
music.
not supposed to in the film. I mean, we find him funny as the viewers, but the people in the film don't find him funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he takes himself serious.
No.
And he has this big opinion of himself, which isn't followed by the reality of people who don't know who he is. He goes, I'm Star-Lord, man. And he's like, who?
Oh, you're Star Bucky Flyer Boy
Yeah.
thing. I mean, that was a really shit.
He just wants to have fun. He doesn't want to take anything too seriously.
Yeah, he's a rogue. He's like a pirate.
Yeah. Well, he's a Ravenger, isn't he?
He was taken in by them. Yeah.
Is that in your notes?
That is in my notes.
Because if you go at the very beginning, it shows him at his mum's side
Yeah.
as she's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
And it's alluded to. Don't know who the dad is.
No.
I mean, given how funny this film is, that's a really heavy start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching your mum die, and it wasn't a happy, funny, light-hearted death. It was a really grim,
Yeah.
I'm dying horribly of a death disease, and you get to watch me do it.
She looked good though, didn't she, for someone who had cancer?
I mean, but it sets the scene like it does in every Marvel film, doesn't it? To give a bit of his backstory and then really,
and also gives the value of the music.
Yeah,
because she records the music onto the tape. And I think the 80s, having just in another show that's being edited, our TV review, Stranger Things, capitalises massively on the 80s popular culture references and where they set this film with a cassette. Most Generation Z wouldn't even understand what a cassette is. They probably end up trying to
Google it.
Yeah, if that. But
They would Google it. That's exactly. They'd look at it and Google what the fuck is there.
Yeah, and then drool. They'd have to try to describe it on Google. Google wouldn't even know what it was like.
Whereas us lot are like, we used to record the top 40 on Radio 1 on a Sunday.
Your girlfriend, you'd make your little tapes, mixtapes for your
I
girlfriend.
used to do that.
I never did that. I couldn't be arsed.
Oh my god.
What's the effort in, Dunny?
How romantic.
Couldn't be arsed.
We used to literally, me and my sister used to record the top 40 every
couldn't be bothered
Sunday
with that either.
and take out the ads in between.
I recorded, which would technically be my very first podcast, a radio show.
Did you really?
I've still got the tape. I'll have to pull it out
Oh, no way.
with sound effects. I had a Casio keyboard.
Mate. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
Write in, viewers, if you'd like to, or listeners.
Writing? Are you referring to the 80s kids there?
Write into our social
Send
media.
us a telegram.
If you're born after the 80s, you can use email at the2marks@thepodstation.co.uk.
It's the birth of the internet. We've got the world's longest domain.
If you want to listen to Latham's 80s podcast.
We'll put it as a post.
You were ahead of your time there, Latham.
I must have known the future, what the future held.
Exactly.
Star-Lord dropped little breadcrumbs. But that sets the whole movie up, doesn't it, ultimately?
Yeah.
His mum dies, which creates the reason why the tape and his headphones is so important, because he's listening to that music whilst he's stealing things, as his lovable rogue character is. And that's the reason why. And then he gets kidnapped by the Ravengers. We don't know the Ravengers at this point, but you see this ship just like suck him up.
Yeah.
I just did that for your benefit. Dramatic pause, giggle, crack on. So yeah, and then that carries the movie forward.
Yeah.
And James Gunn just does music and sound
amazing.
really well. Yeah, because every single song in that people will know.
Yeah,
and some of those songs are "When Were You?" when that song played at the discotheque, which I'm using 80s lingo. You're welcome. Because people will know.
Well, given I was 9 when the 80s ended, chances are I probably wasn't in a discotheque.
You might have been in a school discotheque, though.
No, but you'd remember them.
I've been sliding on my knees and not paying any attention to the songs.
Did you slide on your knees? Of course. I burnt through so many knee holes. My mum put patches.
Oh, I used to have them too.
Yeah.
If there was a hole in your pants, your mum would buy one of them patches and sew it on.
Like now you buy.
No, I'd have just got my ass kicked if I'd have gone through my pants like that.
I used to slide across the floor like you did, and it would burn. The friction would burn holes in my trousers, and my mum would patch them up or sew them up. Like when now you pay £100 for a pair of pants that look shit.
I know. They've already got the holes in it.
Yeah, and you pay more money for them.
You sound so old. Anyway, moving on. That brings us on to the sort of the opening scene after the miserable death bit.
Yeah.
Which is when, quite excitingly, we come across another Infinity Stone, which is Peter Quill landing on the planet to find it sort of Indiana Jones style.
Yeah.
And can I hasten to add that when I dance in my head, that's how I look.
What do you look like in real life, though?
Probably not like Peter Quill.
Can we do a demo later? A Peter Quill dancing and then you dancing.
You open this Pandora's
So
box.
Ollie, you did.
No comment.
Mate, if I'm eating 2 chocolate cream eggs in my mouth, you're doing a silly dance.
Hell yes.
But yes, do we not think that it's a fantastic soft opening, I suppose, to the film, given...
Well, I was more excited about the fact that we realised that Ronan was in the movie again, because obviously we had the big controversy about you putting Ronan in.
Well,
for a
Thanos is as well, so whoever had him on their list. I mean, at last, the two of you have actually caught up to reality. You can technically have him on your list now because he's been in the film more than 5 seconds.
I know. I was very, very excited about the fact that Ronan and Thanos suddenly made an appearance.
I did. My eyes just rolls off, for Christ's sake.
The dance that Peter Quill's doing is because no one's looking. That's the equivalent of you having a brush in the shower and singing to your brush. Because he doesn't know when anyone's looking. Because apart from we are the viewer, but he doesn't know. He's not aware of us. So that's what people do. Like I sing to myself. I dance to Enya. Peter Quill is essentially what I get up to when I'm on my own and no one's looking. If I was a movie, that's what would happen.
Interesting.
It might be. But yeah, I quite like that because it just shows his character. Because he's not afraid to be himself, even though somebody was watching, i.e. us, you probably gagged in, and he's not aware of it. And then he doesn't know it's an Infinity Stone, by the way, does he?
No, not at that point.
And we don't know.
We don't at that point.
No, because we were asking each other, "What's in the orb?"
The purple one.
Well, technically, I already knew because I've seen this film before. But
I did. I'd seen the film before, but it didn't click until now because I didn't know anything about Infinity.
I mean, the
Stones
first time I
before.
watched the film, I didn't have a Scooby-Doo. In fact, technically, I sort of knew what the Infinity Stone was by the end of the film, but I didn't know what the Infinity Stone relevance is.
Yeah.
So I didn't realise that all those others were necessarily Infinity Stones. I'm sure I probably had a conversation with you at that point. It was probably you and Vince. I was asking about the Infinity Stones and you explained.
Can we talk about Yondu?
Already?
What about Ronan? Do you not want to get on to Ronan?
Yeah, okay, let's do Ronan.
Jumping ahead here, though.
Because the next scene we do actually meet, we actually see Ronan again in the order that we're watching this film. I mean, in the release date, this is the first time we come across Ronan, whereas we've been watching it in date order, not release order. So we've seen Ronan for 0.2 of a second in Captain Marvel, which apparently warrants going on your top 10 list of favourite characters. But we actually get to meet him properly, so now it's all right to have him on your list.
Thank you.
Yeah,
love it, love him. Brilliant character.
That's why he's on my list.
Yeah, he's on mine too.
You see, the problem is when I see him, I can only think of that TV series he was in about the computers.
Halt and Catch Fire.
Yeah. Fabulous
that was
TV
a binge.
series.
I watched the whole of that.
Love that. Have you seen that?
No, over my head.
On Netflix, it's so brilliant. Cool. Really good.
Amazon.
And all I can think of is him.
Yeah.
In that.
I'm the other way around. I hadn't seen that show until afterwards, like sometime afterwards. And I was like, oh, it's him. Because I was like, I'd never seen him in anything. Then I saw that show and, oh, it's him. Very good show.
Brilliant. I suppose with that, he's quite a small person to play that role.
His name's Lee Pace.
Yeah, you mean height or just in terms of
No,
time?
as in like he wasn't well known if you think about him playing a major baddie. If you think of all the other major baddies who've been played, I'm trying to think of any off the top of my head and just gone completely blank. Well, Tom Hiddleston, he was the guy who played the elf in
Christopher Eccleston,
Thanos' guy,
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, these are big names who are playing the baddies. He's not as big a name, is he?
No.
But he did a great job because Ronan's quite a good baddie.
But Ronan's really Ronan dies at the end of this anyway, so he's only in it for one movie.
I mean, you can tell me this. It's not going to change the reasons why you should or shouldn't be in the top 10 anyway, but there we go.
I'm just saying maybe because he hasn't got longevity, that's why they didn't cast a bigger person in that role.
He's a knob. Well, you say that, but Thingy Eccleston, Chris Eccleston, who's never forgotten after 5 minutes. I mean, he dies in that one straight away.
I've worked with Chris Eccleston.
If all of the people,
getting not confused with
most of the baddies, because he was in Iron Man 1. The bald guy.
Yeah, the one out of Tron.
My IMDb's up there.
The guy from Tron.
Yeah, this is how little I know shit without my IMDb.
The Big Lebowski guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gets killed in the first film.
Well, yeah, Ironmonger. That's how you play.
Most of the bad guys get worn off pretty quick. But so you approve of Ronan?
I love Ronan. I was excited about the fact that we had a baddie at the beginning, at the end of Captain Marvel, and then I'm really excited that we got to see a little bit more of him. And he turned out to be quite funny.
Who?
Ronan.
Funny?
Yeah, there was a scene
Is
where
this
he
like
was
Loki
funny.
being cheeky?
But wasn't that true?
He had it. Well,
there was this funny scene in it.
I must have been asleep during that bit. What?
He was, but that was what I loved more about him because he was he was like power driven, But then there's a point where he's very funny in it too.
You scare me slightly.
Is this
Wait,
when he's
which
getting-
were the funny bits?
Was he getting a mud bath? Was it the bit where he came out of the mud bath all covered in black?
I can't.
Why is that funny?
I don't.
No, I'm asking because she's saying he's funny, and I was saying, was it when he got out of there?
Shit.
Was it when he was stoving Drax's head in, going, "I don't remember killing your wife and daughter, and I'm not going to remember killing you"?
Hilarious, yeah.
Oh, really
Was
funny.
it when he was talking to Thanos and killed the other guy?
No, it's when he told Thanos, that promise I made, you can fuck off, I'm keeping the stone, and I'm going to go and destroy an entire planet, killing everyone
There
on
was
it.
there was a couple of moments, but I
Hashtag
can't remember off the
lols.
top of my head. Anyway, moving on. I just think he's brilliant. What about you, Latham?
Well, he's on my list, and he just have a look at the list. What number is he?
Well, we'll wait and see what number he's on. Let's not go into that because we'll cover that at the end of the show. You'll have to stay tuned. I suppose we should explain for anyone who's listening for the first time. But at the end of each episode, we do a top 10 favourite characters. And each film, if the character's been in that film, we can move them around. Otherwise, they will drop down in the order by nature of any new people you put in there. And we also rate the films out of 10. So Ronan was in your top 10.
Is moved down? Is he?
Well, he is. No, he is. And subject to what other changes you may or may not be making, Ronan was
4.
number 11. You knocked him out of your top 10.
Oh well.
When you added Bucky Barnes / Winter Soldier in at number 2. So
Controversial.
Controversial indeed.
but we'll crack that little nut a little bit later on. Do you want to go for your next notes, or shall I mention the next scene? Oh, you're just randomly reading out characters, aren't you?
Well, I make notes
Are we not
differently to
following the
how you...
storyline?
No, but I am, because
Are you?
Yondu's coming at some point, because that's what I've put down next. Why? What's going on next in your scene?
Well, the next on my list while I was awake was Xandar, where Quill goes to try and pawn off the Infinity Stone. That's when we find out it's actually an Infinity Stone.
Well, London.
And Gamora and Rocket and Groot all sort of come together.
It's a cute little scene, this, isn't it? Because we get introduced to Rocket and Groot.
Yeah. Stan Lee does a cameo.
He does do a cameo.
On the London Bridge where it's filmed.
He does. At this point, I should lay my cards on the table and say that Rocket is my hero. The way he's bitching and moaning about everyone on the streets at the beginning of this scene is pretty much how I am all day, every day.
Yeah. I would liken you to Rocket, actually. That's pretty good comparison.
This is a sad movie which deals with a lot of sadness, doesn't it? Because Rocket's story is sad.
But you don't get heaviness with the Rocket story. They keep it very light.
I don't know, it's very clever because they do. There are some really, like...
when you show his back and stuff.
Yeah, in the prison where his back's exposed, there is just that really small, poignant moment of this poor creature's been tortured, and then he turns around, opens his mouth, and you instantly lose all sympathy for him.
Yeah. I mean, you're in the comics, he was created specifically to keep psychiatric patients.
Say that 3 times quickly.
I don't think I will. Psychiatric patients company.
Say that again.
No, I will. I will not. That was in the comics. That was basically his job to keep them company. Groot's backstory is even more sad.
Oh, go on.
Because he suffers from a degenerative disease. His race basically can only say "I am Groot" because this genetic disorder over time tightens the vocal cords, which prevents speech, which is the reason why you can only say "I am Groot."
So will his vocabulary reduce even further?
Possibly, but that's why you can only say "I am Groot" because he hasn't got the ability to say more.
Aww.
Because of this disease.
Wow.
That's the comics that they didn't touch upon that in the movie because I think you'd already be crying.
Yeah.
You got the start with the woman dying of cancer. Raccoon's been played with. He's been dragged around, and then you got Groot who can't talk properly because he's got a disease which stops him from speaking.
Well, he's pretty harmless in this first scene.
Harmless.
Thank you.
Very good.
Don't encourage him. I'll do the humour.
And Gamora as well, because we come across Nebula and Gamora. I mean, Gamora obviously features more in this particular scene, but the both of them do feature with Ronan, and it's at this point that they're declared as daughters of Thanos.
Well, they've adopted daughters because he's basically conquered the planets that they're in. And in fact, in the comics, Gamora's history is far more bloodier. It's more violent. They've toned it down a lot Because, I mean, if you thought her life was pretty grim, it's worse in the comics.
Wow.
Well, you get a bit of an insight into that when Gamora and Peter are on the balcony and she gives a bit of a backstory, so you get a bit of a serious moment from her on that.
Oh, wow. Talk about dragging the...
tone down.
The tone down, yeah. I mean, my next thing on the list is the prison, but what's on your notes?
Well, where does Yondu come in between then? Because he comes in at some point earlier than that.
Yondu's further down the line.
No,
he's after
way,
the break
It's
out of
not.
prison.
It's before Gamora and Nebula are adopted daughters of Thanos.
I think you might have fallen asleep because the prison part first.
Yeah. Let's do Yondu.
I love Yondu too.
Do you like his whistle?
Yeah? What a brilliant weapon is that? I'd be chasing shit ton of people around if I had that.
He's quite powerful, he's Yondu, isn't he? In the comics.
What I love about him is that he wants to get shit done, but he's also got a very soft spot for Peter in this film.
Well, he kind of adopts him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he lets him off with a shit ton of stuff, so you realise that he's trying to be soft but hard at the same time, and that's really nice.
We've all had that problem,
There's pills now.
Soft and hard. It's the name of my album.
The whole ship... is it Raiders?
Ravagers.
The Ravagers. I fell asleep trying the name. The Ravagers crew are fabulous. They're great in this, and they're great in the second film as well, where a lot of the crew are sort of share that Yondu vibe of being we're baddies, except for soft. They've got a soft little underbelly that's quite cute and amusing at the same time.
Love it.
Well, I think that's the bit that makes it humorous, is the fact they are ship pirates.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I suppose they also care.
Yeah.
So there's the solidarity of their clan, which is a smorgasbord of different people. So they've taken in Peter Quill. The other people have joined the Ravagers, and the Ravagers are a collective. They're not specifically one species, although obviously a lot of them are. But most of them have been part of a ragtag band of pirates and buccaneers.
I would be really bad if I had Yondu's powers, because I can't whistle.
No way.
Do you go billy billy boo, billy 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 boo?
I mean, I can sort of do a little bit of a whistle.
Go on, try.
But in,
Go on.
I can't.
Oh, you're like a dancing monkey, aren't you? Come on, monkey, perform.
Can you
Keep
whistle?
between your lips.
Oh dear Lord.
I know for a fact I can't do the put your finger in your mouth where I just...
Oh, what's that? My ears are bleeding now.
Go on.
I can make a little bit of noise
Go on.
with whistling like that,
A wet
but
fart.
I won't be able to because
Go on.
I'm laughing. But you know the fingers in the mouth when I just slobber down me chin. No,
Just
that
phlegms
just
over someone.
it's like that. But yeah, no, I can't whistle. So that
You haven't even tried.
He's
Just do
buying for
it.
time.
I can't because I'll keep smiling and laughing, and obviously I can't. If I have a serious moment, I'll just randomly try and
Peter
whistle.
Quill's mum died of cancer. That was the wrong response.
Obviously.
That was dark. Oh dear. Dark like the prison, which is the next scene.
Yeah. Prison is a pretty good scene.
I love the
Fight
prison scene too.
I mean, the prison is just fabulous.
The fact that Rocket just sets the tone and be like, this bitch is mine. Oh, it's so kick-ass.
Although in fairness, he does it because he's got Groot there. I mean, Groot, if without
his
Groot,
weapon,
he would be less physically assured. Although I'm sure his attitude would still at least have a go.
He's a tinkerer. Well, he's an arms expert, isn't he?
Yeah.
The fact that
He's
he's being carried
fantastic.
by a 6-foot fucking tree
Yeah.
just helps him a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, that's good, isn't it? I mean, if you had a massive stalker, you'd be able to do a lot of stuff, wouldn't you? See his tight trousers. But if you had a tree, you could walking around. It's a bit like Lord of the Rings, isn't it? What are those trees called?
Yeah, but Groot's a bit faster. Those trees work really
They're slow.
slowly.
Yeah, well, they're bigger again, but Groot's the right height for a tree. With my botanist hat on.
Says you with no plants in the office.
Oh, I
Oh, here
think
we go.
you'll find.
Yes, I love my green fingers.
But you also get to meet Drax in this scene as well, which is kind of cool because he's got a very sad backstory as well. Actually, the more we talk about it, the more
That's
I'm
what
like,
I mean.
right,
Yeah,
they're like
this is the
sad bits in this film.
This is why we didn't get your thoughts about Iron Man, because this film is very similar. I mean, it's obviously slightly more amusing, but they have the luxury of doing that because it's a first film. They haven't built up a backstory of 2 movies like Iron Man did. But Marvel have this wonderful ability to find the balance between humour and heavy, weighty story arcs.
Yeah.
And Drax is another character who's got horrendous background.
Yeah, his family was slaughtered.
Yeah. But I think what they've done well in here is they've balanced it much nicer for me, because I didn't get bogged down with the sad. I think the sad was then quickly picked up.
I think the problem you had with Iron Man is your expectation of the last two movies had culminated with the third one, and you thought you were going to get this exact same thing.
Yeah,
and you
which
didn't.
wasn't.
Was Mark saying Guardians Pollard. That's had a stroke then. Guardians is a group of ragtag people who have come together similar because of their backgrounds, and they've gravitated towards each other because they come across as not liking each other, but through their look of not liking each other, they actually love each other.
It's that sheer chaos and carnage that brings them all together, because they've all got chaos
They're all
and carnage
broken
in
people.
there.
Yeah, they're all broken people. If you look at the whole of the group, each one of them is broken.
Yeah, but you also get to see Rocket's brilliance in this scene as well, because the fact that he gets Peter Quill to go get that leg and be like, I was only joking, killed it.
Yeah.
That's a mega scene.
Well, they all are. Groot starting the whole plan off with the thing that was last on the list. We all know a Drax.
Yeah.
We all know someone who, when you say something, just does not get it, and you just look at just looking at them blankly, going, "You surely must have got that statement."
Yeah, defo.
But the interesting thing is the fans fell in love with two CGI characters. So you spent all this money on, as you've already said, star power, and yet people fell in love with a tree
and the raccoon.
I don't know. I think I fell in love with pretty much everyone in this film.
There's so many good characters.
I mean, even we've sort of skipped past the Xandar bit, but what's his face who won the Oscar for Chicago? John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
I mean, even John C. Reilly's hilarious. He plays a tiny part in this film and still has some absolutely belting lines.
But the prison scene and their escape was brilliant. What I did put prison scene brilliant.
with detailed insight like that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very clever.
You
what,
said,
your notes or the scene?
The scene.
So what you exactly said was, I thought the scene in the prison was brilliant, and I put prison scene brilliant.
Yeah.
It's almost a Drax, a Drax type note taking.
Yeah. Where are we going to now on your notes? Because we're all over the show here. We're going to the end credits.
Then they escape, don't they? And they end up waiting on the broker.
What have you put in your notes? Escape.
Yeah, but they're nowhere.
Is that where they went to?
He's being funny.
Shut up.
Yeah, they're nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the place.
Well, actually...
What? They're nowhere.
Okay.
Call his bluff now and tell him what that is. Ask him what it is.
What is it?
It's nowhere.
He'll probably be better off doing a whistle.
Can I mention that in this scene, it made me laugh when Quill and Gamora are on the balcony and he puts the headphones on her and then she says a joke about pelvic sorcery. That was fucking hilarious.
That's something that Layden would say.
Yeah, because they're dancing together and then she's like, stop, I will not be enticed by this pelvic sorcery that because he's dancing close. That was mega. I think
that's at the end of the film.
No, it's not. It's on that balcony when she's listening to the music for the first time and Drax is downstairs waiting on Ronan's army to turn up.
Right.
We've obviously skipped the collective bit then.
Yeah. Oh no, but that's before while they're waiting for the broker to. That's not happened yet. I don't think.
I at this point do not know where you are in this movie.
Because while Drax is downstairs, then they all go and meet the broker, who then realises that Ronan is after the orb, and then he tells them to get out.
I mean, it's quite exciting because the collector, who we meet for the first time, and he's quite
second time.
Yes,
it is,
yes,
yeah.
Sorry.
Because he's already got an Infinity Stone, hasn't he?
Yes, I stand corrected. He obviously explains more about the Infinity Stones, which is very cool.
And to further give the backstory to the other thing that Mark mentioned about nowhere.
Where?
Nowhere. As in, not somewhere.
Somewhere. Nowhere.
Over the rainbow.
Oh, God, this isn't...
Nowhere
cold.
is the decapitated head of a Celestial.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Cool.
Yeah, that's true. They did say
that. Yeah,
yeah, because it is. Yeah, correct.
And so to continue that backstory,
I must have fallen asleep when they did approach that. That's gutting because
we'll watch it again.
Why are you gutted? Because you were banging on about nowhere, and they didn't know that.
Yeah, it was.
No, I'm gutted insofar as I've missed that, but I'm very excited to watch that again.
But what's even more exciting, listen to this, and this is okay, I suppose, because of the recent trailer we've just seen for something else. Basically, the backstory is the Celestial's head that you see floating around that's nowhere was decapitated by Null, who manifested the blade of living abyss from his shadow, known as the All Black, the Necro Sword. Now, where have we just seen that? What have we just seen a trailer for?
Thor.
Yes.
Love and Thunder.
Yeah. So the sword that the guy has in that is the Necro Sword, which is the God Killer. Boom.
It's so clever,
isn't it?
That this film was brought out in 2014, and 8 years on, they're only just introducing stuff that's linked to this film. It's just...
Don't you just wish that you were working at the Marvel head offices right now? I should probably try and get you to a job, I feel like you'd just be in heaven.
Well, that's why I just do the storyboards for you to fill in all the little bits, so when we watch these things, you can see where the links are. I know, but my brain,
I don't feel like my brain has capacity to be able to understand the magnificence that is Marvel, because there's just so many elements to it.
Yeah, they don't mess around, do they?
No, it's brilliant.
This is why I think people like Marvel compared to DC.
It's because you can just become totally engrossed in it.
Well, they put the time in to think about all the nuances. Everything is considered.
I mean, the fact that 8 years on, I'm still finding new and exciting things that I missed completely.
Yeah, well,
about stuff that's
to give you a little cheeky nod to the intricacies that Marvel go to. In The Incredible Hulk, the film that you didn't like, when he gets a scar from his battle with Thunderbolt Ross, he still has that scar when Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is in his thing. So when he's in Avengers, the scar he got from the battle with Thunderbolt Ross in The Incredible Hulk, he still has on his shoulder. That's the level.
Attention to detail, in it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Who would think?
No.
Yeah.
But what did you think about, just going back to this scene with the Collector then, what did you think about the Collector as a character?
I mean, I'm slightly disappointed with the Collector because he doesn't play as big a part as I expected he would generally in this film, or necessarily in the future. I thought he was gonna almost create more of a synergy because of the nature of what he does. He allows for quite a nice, almost spaghetti junction type.
Yeah.
He can be the centre of lots of things going on, and almost they can come together at that one place. But it doesn't really work out like that.
Talking about the casting, I don't think Benicio del Toro is the guy that should have been cast because he mumbles a lot. If you've seen The Usual Suspects, he's just like, I've got some stuff.
Which is funny because we just said how good Marvel are at casting. Is this a faux pas?
But
on
I
their
feel like
part?
his face fitted the Collector really well.
He looks like him from the comics, and actually the Collector is a pretty good villain because, and as you're saying, as a conduit, all roads would lead there because I got loads of Easter eggs from the whole scenes that he was in. But all roads, if you were trying to find someone or something, that would be the person you go to. And actually, in the comics, he's pretty...
Well, he collects stuff, so he's
I know,
ruthless.
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
though.
I mean, we're not just talking about trinkets and thimbles and stamps.
People and animals and creatures. And it's very interesting.
Like Latham, he collects them in his boot.
Yeah, scoop them up.
Hashtag.
It's like the child catcher for ladies.
But yeah,
allegedly. Very,
very interesting character. I mean, it didn't have a massive role in this, but it was enough to pique my interest, I have to say.
Yeah, and
I hope he was insured.
Yeah, goddamn.
You won't have any indemnity for that.
No.
What'd you cover that with?
Well, it's a bit like this, isn't it?
Well, that is. It is.
Behind me is Latham's special edition Star Trek
Limited.
Nemesis cinema standee thing, which got damaged when his office got broken into many moons ago, and the insurers don't know how to value it because it's such a unique. Well, they'd have a job with the collector's gears, Wells.
Well, if you think that's hard to value,
how much do you think an Infinity Stone's worth?
Well, the
priceless.
Infinity.
It's just
Was that a joke?
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. I can attest to that.
It wasn't funny.
I can attest that was not a joke.
Okay.
Said Drax.
Well, Drax didn't find this whole scene particularly funny while he's getting his ass handed to him.
Well, I don't believe that he thought that he could take Ronan on his own. What an idiot.
Ronan's quite strong. Why is Ronan... Are all Krees that strong?
Yeah. Well, you can thank the Kree for the trigenesis thing. So the Kree wanted to create... It all ties into the Eternals and the Celestials and the Deviants and all this stuff. So it's not spoilerific. The Kree wanted to do experiments on the humans. So they injected certain humans with this pterogenesis gas, or it's like a stone and you smash it like a crystal and it emits a gas. It either kills you instantly or you end up having special
Now you see
powers.
this in Marvel of S.H.I.E.L.D., don't
Agents
you?
of S.H.I.E.L.D., it
Agents
picks
of
up on it.
Marvels of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But you also, if you've seen the Marvel TV show The Inhumans, it didn't bode well.
Excuse you.
I was just doing an impression of how good
Was
that
that your
show
whistle?
Have you watched it? Have you seen it? He's going to say he hasn't seen it now. Have you watched it?
No.
No idea. It wasn't its greatest, but I think the problem is it kind of ended up being a bit of a Marvel fatigue, because whilst this was on, there was other shows on, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on, and each of the shows was doing its thing, and because Disney at the time hadn't gone, I think we'll take it all back, and Netflix had their shows that are Marvel, and Hulu had shows that were Marvel, and many others had different shows,
And they didn't have X-Men,
and they didn't have X-Men at the time, and
which
they didn't
is
have
sort
Fox.
of what the Inhumans are.
No, they're their own thing.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, on the tier level, they are.
We'll edit that out so it don't sound quite stupid.
They're tier 1. They are enhanced. They could be classed. They're not X-Men, but you could argue that it's another way if they got the mutant gene activated. But the Inhumans were the ones that the Kree essentially experimented on quite harshly. And the Kree are quite powerful and have enslaved certain people. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. latterly did touch upon that.
They're not very nice.
No.
Although
But the
it's weird because you've got the Kree and
The Skrull.
the Skrull. And
I'm getting confused between the Kree and the Skrull.
so the Skrull are the ones we saw in Captain Marvel,
The
which are the
shapeshifters.
funky
Yeah.
eared ones.
That's why I got
who we assume are
confused.
goodies at the end of that. And
Yeah.
obviously we've seen the Kree here who we assume are all
Baddies,
baddies.
yeah.
But that's not strictly the case. It's a bit like humanity, I guess, where there's
Good and bad,
goodies
yeah.
and baddies.
And across the comics, they kind of swap places. And so, in terms of like Secret Wars, the reason why the Kree were doing what they were doing is what they wanted to do is create Kree super soldiers that would be able to infiltrate organisations. So there'd be like you, for example, you'd have been an enhanced Kree soldier. You'd still look like you, but you'd have the power to gag in.
Thank
got
you,
that
later.
already.
Well done. So, mission achieved.
Accomplished.
Yeah, and then so he'd have the Kree. They didn't sort of inject him, and he'd have the ability to.
I
be,
have the super ability to moan.
Yeah, well,
What would be your super ability?
well, genius, isn't it? And slenderness. Working on the second, I need more of that pterogenesis, also known as less fat. But that's what they would do. The idea was to infiltrate. So part of various comic book storylines, you would have this battle going on. So you could have it as part of, arguably, Secret Invasion. So you've got the Kree super soldiers that are infiltrating high levels of government and the alphabet agencies. Then you'd have the Skrull who shapeshift. They would also be infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D. and the other one, I can't, Sword, and all the other agencies that kind of oversight commission. That would be part of their infiltration thing. But they're not. There's some good ones and bad ones, and some are worse than others.
Well, Ronan definitely falls into the bad because not only is he generally bad, and in fact he's a bad enough guy where he tells Thanos, who in fairness we don't realise is quite the guy that perhaps he may develop into further down the line.
Well, you know he's got power because obviously Ronan is answering to him until...
Yeah. Well, until he
certain
tells him to
point.
do one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, he's Kree. He hasn't got any special powers. He's probably strong.
Yeah.
But I mean, only because he's been made genetically.
Yeah.
Because he's been dabbled with by the Celestials.
And you realise that
Spin-off of that.
Thanos is something of a different being and a bit of
Thanos
a higher
is
being.
below Celestials, and he's on a part of the Eternals because Star Fox is
Because
Thanos.
he's part deviant, part eternal,
Yeah.
is Thanos.
Yeah.
But you
'cause-
don't obviously get that story.
So he's got godlike abilities, a bit like Thor,
and
really.
he's scary looking.
Well, Thor's on the
He's got a penis chin,
Oh, stop.
testicle chin.
testicle chin. So yeah, he would be tier 3.
Right.
Thor is tier 2, and humans, X-Men, Inhumans are tier 1.
Right.
If you're going to put them in tiers.
Yeah, so he's more powerful.
So tier 3 is higher than the others. I know that's the way it's going.
So where would Ronan fit into that tier? Tier 2?
He'd be tier 2 probably. Yeah.
Okay.
So you as Guardians, your Olympians, they're probably tier 2. So they
Oh, well, like Usain Bolt.
yes, The one with gold people. Well, he runs actually almost as fast as Captain America. Captain America.
Let's not open this wound again.
Captain America runs in half an hour about 35 miles an hour, and Usain Bolt does 29.7, something like that.
Wow.
Oh, I'm not going down this. Let's move on.
Technically the truth.
But my notes next, which I'm sorry to cut in, but my next notes are: plan to recover stone. Is someone 100% dick?
No, but before that, basically,
What was I there? Was I falling asleep and having a dream at this point?
Well, before that, so isn't obviously Drax
We
is
should have
called,
glossed over that slightly.
Obviously, they've gone to the collector. Just to rewind, they've gone to the collector. Shown the orb. In the meantime, Drax has called in Ronan. Ronan's outside waiting on things
on nowhere.
on the nowhere, and the collector's office blows up, and then Ronan's kicking Drax's ass.
Is that what it is? His office.
It's his office, showroom, whatever you
Registered
want to
with
call
company's
it.
house.
Museum.
Yeah.
And then
the fire brigade turn up.
And then Nebula comes and grabs the orb when everybody's on the back tracking it and get off. Oh no, they escape on the pods, and then Nebula gets it from Gamora.
Both sides.
Yeah. And Gamora then is left for dead.
Until Peter comes,
sacrifices his life, and then calls Yondu to come and collect them.
With his whistle.
Yeah. Right, so does that bring us up to where you are
I have
now
no
then?
idea.
Sorry, go.
Apparently he's on about dicks or
Go
something.
on, what were you saying?
well, I did it. You know, these. I think it's the. That might be the plan.
Yeah, the plan where they're all sat together on Yondu's.
Like, I've got maybe
12% of plan.
12%. Maybe that's what I was trying to write, and I was just super tight because I put 100% dick.
Could that be predictive texting?
I don't know. Or maybe something going through my head.
Do we know the relevance of that 12% thing?
No.
Well, I think the relevance is just he had no plan.
So the joke that was carried on from the Avengers when Joss Whedon directed the film The Avengers, Iron Man says that he's going to award Pepper Potts 12% of the idea.
Right.
And then later on she says, because when they obviously designed Stark Tower, he says, I'll give you 12% of the creative process. Then later on, she comes up with another 12%. They were having 12% of a moment. James Gunn continues that joke and says 12% of a plan.
Oh, right. No way.
Witty bants.
It was. That little scene anyway was funny while they're trying to get shit in.
It's very cute because it brings together all of their personalities.
Really well.
The fact that they all decide to go along with it, even though they all voice quite rightly all of their different positions, which is so totally random and chaotic.
Yeah.
Is sort of the beauty of this film brought into a single moment.
Yeah.
I think your single moment was your dream about 100% dick.
I do too.
Which I'd like to explore another date.
Yeah, watch that as a different episode. What
Did you
next?
have 100% dick on yours as well? Because it might have been a shared dream. I don't know what's going on.
What else have you got on your list?
After obviously the planning, they all decide to go after Ronan's ship in order not for him to land on Xandar and plant the orb or the
Power Stone.
which
It's
would
the
have
Power
killed
Stone.
everybody.
Have you just IMDb'd that?
No, I knew that.
Okay.
I'd googled it yesterday.
The Power Stone?
When we watched it.
Yeah, the Infinity Stone.
Yeah, but what one is it?
It's the power.
What's the Power Stone?
It's an Infinity Stone.
No, but what one is it though?
It's
It's the purple one.
yeah,
So what does the purple one do?
power.
He said.
That's what it said. Yeah. Well, what do you think it does?
Are we
don't know.
are we googling this now? Purple
People eater.
Infinity Stone.
Oh, you on about people won't know?
Oh,
Huh?
I don't know. We've established. Well, no, the
I
exposition.
googled it.
The exposition says they was Infinity Stones, aren't they? So
Yeah, and so at the time
That's
when I was
fine.
told about the Infinity Stones, I googled what the Infinity Stones were.
It's
and
the Power Stone,
It
yeah.
obviously lists them all, and then because it says the colours next to it, I was able to deduce
Yeah, it's the Power Stone.
that
Yeah.
it was the Power Stone. So yeah,
So,
so use
yeah.
the Power Stone.
So he was going to use the Power Stone. So it's then them enacting the relevant thing to stop them from reaching Xandar. But it was a nice thing that Nova Corps kind of came and helped as well.
Well, I mean, full disclosure, I was asleep at this point, but from memory, I do remember.
They come out and they help them when it looks like shit is hitting the fan, and they create that shield to try and keep the ship up.
the Nova Corps ships open their wings and make the whole.
Yeah. Love that scene.
Didn't work though, did it?
No, but I love that they actually came to his aid, because that character that you were talking about,
It's like having a pretty parachute when it's on fire.
The soldier, he obviously took it into. He obviously realised that Quill was doing the right thing.
I mean, all I can remember from this scene is the heartbreaking fact that Groot dies
In flames.
Oh, but
the good thing is, because the ship I was just trying to find the name for, the Dark Aster, is what they're trying to protect against. And then Groot, as you rightly say, kind of
shields
sacrifices
himself. He does, essentially, doesn't he? And that's that's another sad part of the film, isn't it?
Oh, it's horrendously sad, because ridiculously you are totally invested in this character at this point in the film.
A CGI tree.
Yeah.
They can only say the same three words repeatedly.
Who wants a Groot tree? Hands up. Me.
We've all
I'll
got...
just put.
Well, you just want trees.
I just like trees. I
I
like
mean, we
plants
live in a
and trees.
tropical rainforest in our house already.
Yeah.
FYI.
If you want to see a real action version of Jumanji, get yourself down to their house. I mean, it looks like Steve Irwin's been in there. Well, he's dead now, but if he was alive, he'd be in there with crocodiles and stingrays.
I'm trying to oxygenate our house. It has far too much technology
There's
in
too
it for
much
my
oxygen.
life.
I get lightheaded. I get lightheaded when I walk into our house.
Just open the window.
Get a bit of CO2 in there.
I mean, it's like photogenesis in there, isn't it?
It's a healthy environment. Plants are important, and so I love Groot.
All right,
and I love
Greta.
a Groot tree.
Stick your head out for a bit of carbon monoxide just to balance the equation.
I just shove the car exhaust in there. Greta Thunberg, if you want to be a sponsor.
But it was a sad scene when he.
Oh, it was.
But then that is then toppled by the dance off,
Which is abso-fucking-lutely brilliant, isn't it?
and it's a dance off with the whole team in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole team gag in
Yeah.
to take, because he takes the power, which is another huge turning point, because technically having just been explained how powerful these stones are,
Yeah.
He shouldn't be able to touch
shouldn't be holding it now.
Yeah.
If you want to grab your stones, that's cool, but there's going to be some...
There's some power in my stones, I tell you.
Okay, Pollard.
I've just seen some tumbleweed go by.
What's your hashtag?
Technically the truth.
Yeah.
About the tumbleweed.
Oh, the power in my stones.
That's just a lie. Hashtag bollocks. Literally, that's technically the truth.
But I love that he just completely stopped that whole scene by that dance off, and Ronan's like, what are you doing? I mean, it's funny.
No, that is, but that literally follows on, doesn't it? Straight after the loss, because Rocket Raccoon, who's got this love-hate type thing, because he's a bit sort of...
I don't know, he's all love about Groot. I don't think there's any point. I think he's humour orientated. Well, he's sort of slightly humorous in his exasperation with Groot's behaviour, but you can tell he's 100%
in love
with the guy.
Yeah.
They are like bezies.
Yeah.
But what he does is he purposely doesn't acknowledge the love, because he's protecting himself, because he's damaged.
Yeah.
But but the fact that you can just tell when he's all slumped down.
No, but you see, I think he does. I think I genuinely believe him and Groot probably do share that experience. It's just outwardly. So for any observers, he acts the arse because he doesn't want people to realise how much him and Groot have that thing.
Yeah, friendship, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he does it to distance himself, doesn't he? So he kind of arm's length type thing.
That tromance.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that Ronan dies at this point. I wasn't expecting
Why?
it. I
Because he's a shit baddie, and why would anyone have him in his top 10?
Beam himself up and just get off, but then he died, and I was like, wow, okay, he's gone.
Yeah, that's a bad baddie, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what a way to go.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Top 10.
You're quite flatulent today, aren't you?
He is.
Yeah.
He hasn't whistled yet either. I'm waiting on
his
it.
arsehole has.
So as a result of the Power Stone and Quill holding it, as with the rest of them, you obviously get a reference to something a little bit deeper about Peter that we didn't know before. And they kind of allude to that, don't they? When he
well,
goes
at the
back.
beginning of the story, you have the full circle, and don't you? Because it picks the story up again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he doesn't know who his dad is, and
No.
that's been left massively open. Well, you do in this.
But they don't know who his dad is, but he also has the power to hold an Infinity Stone and not die.
But
so
Glenn Close also talks about it when she's back at the thing, doesn't she? Because she was questioning how they had done tests on him to say that he's half human, half something that they're not aware of.
On their database.
Yeah. So that was where we also get that.
Yeah.
What needs to be mindful is, again, MCU have adapted this storyline because Peter Quill or Star-Lord actually appears in loads of stories across different comics over the years. So for this, because this is the first time you ever see him, they've messed around and redone his backstory to make it easy for the viewer. Because if you just went, oh, by the way, here's Star-Lord, who's been around in different comics for many, many years, but it's the first time you're seeing him, your investment wouldn't be the same. So they've given him a different sort of backstory. So you go, oh, okay, and then they can build on that moving forward.
Yeah, love him. Thankfully, the post-credit scenes... Well, I suppose
There's only one, isn't there?
Well, I suppose before then we now know where the Power Stone is.
With the Nova Corps.
I've totally lost track of where the bloody Scepter Stone is.
It was with the Collector.
That's with the Collector.
Yeah.
And the other stone is with the Collector as well.
There's only...
The ether is with the Collector.
Oh, right. Okay. So he's got
the
two
Tesseract
stones.
is with the Collector, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So are they all with the Collector at the minute?
No, one's with Nova Corps.
Yeah.
On Xandar.
One's on Earth.
Well, so far we've only had 3, haven't we?
Have we had 3 or 2?
Yeah, they're not all with the Collector.
The ether and the ether was from Dark World, which went to the Collector with the Tesseract that he already had.
Right, okay.
Because he'd already been given the Tesseract, if my memory's right, and they dropped off the ether because he then went, I've got this one as well. Which was, we were talking when we did the record, went, well, for someone who's called the Collector, and I think you said this, why would you want to give someone these 2 precious things when the guy's name's the Collector?
Let's leave that and move on. We do get 2 post-credit stings. We firstly get, thank God, Groot being alive in one of the most charming and wonderful post-credit
Michael
stings.
Jackson.
Yeah.
So cute.
Ever gonna see.
Hashtag merchandise.
Everybody wanted a Groot off the back of this.
Yeah, I still want a Groot after the back of that.
Fabulous.
I did buy someone a Groot.
I'll have a Groot.
Don't look at me. Look at him. He's the one who's buying Groots. And well, the second scene was Ed the Duck.
But yeah,
Not
what
Ed
the
the
hell?
Duck. That was from the BBC.
I know the reference as well.
Although I have put Ed the Duck on my notes.
I don't know who Ed the Duck is, but that was weird. The Collector and the Duck. Who the hell is the Duck?
You explain Howard the Duck.
Okay, so
because not Ed the Duck, he was a children's puppet.
Well, we'll do. He's in my Easter egg. So if you're happy for me to cover Easter eggs,
all right, let's do the Easter eggs then.
Are we all covered on your fantastic notes?
So, yeah,
have
we done all your notes?
Yeah, have we done all yours?
Oh yeah, I've done
I
mine.
cannot believe collectively your notes cover that 2-hour period. You were in a coma. What were you up to for the other hour and 45 minutes?
No, my notes
100% dick.
good. Stop it.
Well, that was me.
Yeah. Oh, he's drooling when he said it. Let me go through the Easter eggs, which we've covered a few already. The Howard the Duck backstory. This is another Disney property, a movie that was done by George Lucas of all people, which bombed.
Super shit.
It bombed. It's basically a talking duck from a planet of talking ducks who, for the bizarrest of reasons, they decided to choose, and it's George Lucas, by the way, of Star Wars fame,
Wow.
have Howard the Duck have a sexual relationship with a human lady.
Ew.
I know,
Fun.
she got ducked.
It's
That's all I'm going to
crackers.
say.
Oh, very funny. Well done. Okay, continue, Latham.
Well, I think he spoiled my one. he talked over my one, which was she got ducked. Anyway, right. Wait till he's finished.
That sounded a bit malevolent, did that?
So it's actually a comic book thing, and because it's Disney who own all of it, technically what they've done is brought Howard the Duck into the MCU.
I think they were just taking the piss.
Were
Yeah.
they? Okay.
Yeah.
That was a bit like, what the hell is a Duck the Collector?
It was a nod to Disney, who own the rights to Howard the Duck.
Got it.
And brought into the MCU, so now he is canon.
Okay.
Then you have Cosmo the Space Dog, Soviet space member of the Guardians. He's just been brought in. He's from the comic. He's a comic book character.
Okay.
The Chitauri are recognisable in the Collector's room. Whether he was captured during the Battle of New York, we don't know. You see a Dark Elf, who is one of the antagonists from Thor 2. The Slither alien, which is a double nod. It's a nod to the alien parasites that was in the film Slither. That was one of James Gunn's directorial debuts. The Slither alien is one that was featured in his film, James Gunn's directorial debut of Slither. The Sakarin, now that's quite important for a couple of reasons. Apart from being the henchmen of Ronan the Accuser, they play a big role in the Hulk story, which was Planet Hulk comics, they don't technically own the license to do that, but then they might be able to because they may do a deal with Universal like they've done with Sony. So we may see that in the future. James Gunn has also sort of collaborated with various people and have them cameo in his films, specifically Lloyd Kaufman of Troma fame, who was one of the people who helped him in his early days when he was director of the film Slither. Josh Brolin actually voices Thanos.
Yeah, well, this is the first time he does that, because the original time that Thanos appears is for 0.3 of a second, which also apparently warrants going into someone's top 10. He wasn't played by Josh Brolin. In fact, he looks slightly different as well.
They changed him up, yeah.
He didn't have the big scrotum chin.
Yeah, and he wasn't as purple.
No. But this is the Thanos that...
He did look like a bellend, didn't he?
He did, but he's I mean, Josh Brolin even plays him well in this.
Great cast, isn't there?
Small cameo.
Massively. I love Josh Brolin.
Well, I think what they've done this time is what they did with Mark Ruffalo, is they didn't try and make a different character like they did with...
They modelled him.
Well, Ang Lee's classic Hulk version was just diabolical, where they tried to make him different than the person. What they've done is they've modelled how Hulk would be as Mark Ruffalo.
If Josh Brolin's scrotum was on his face, this is what you'd look like. And if you hadn't had it for a bit and it was very purple,
well, it looks
swollen.
like it needs some calamine lotion on it, doesn't it?
He does. He's got
like proper.
He's been sleeping with the dirty lady.
So
chafage.
We've covered the 12% joke. The Dancing Groot part, which is interesting because James Gunn revealed that although he didn't do any motion caption for this part, most of the dance moves are based on him and how he dances.
Oh.
It's a shame you didn't show us your dancing moves, because we could have done a follow-up to that Dancing Groot.
There will be a video on social media at some point.
You want to get your plants dancing to the way he does?
Yeah.
Shit. And then the big one, which I've left till last, Adam Warlock. Now, if you want to cast your eyes over to my massive wall, one of the villains that I've predicted that's going to pop up is Adam Warlock. Now, who is this person? Well, he's quite a powerful villain / anti-hero who you see the cocoon in the collector's office. Whilst he's munching down on his packed lunch.
Is it next to the printer?
Yeah. In the fax machine, and his wife's made him a nice lovely packed lunch with a hot flask of soup.
Oh dear.
Can you imagine the collector's wife ringing, don't forget to come home with some milk?
Love, I'll put it in the microwave when I get there.
So we don't know what's going to happen. Well, we kind of hope that they're going to do more with this over the next few films. So watch and learn.
Fabulous. Thank you, Mr. Latham. So now on to my favourite part of this film.
No, really?
It is. I mean, it allows you to vent lots of frustration.
And it contains the most amount of lols, obviously.
So do you want to explain the rules?
The rules are, if there is a character in the film, that character can be moved up in the ranking. If they're not in the film, they can't move at all. And we vote on our top 10 films and top 10 characters. Latham can go first because his list is always contentious.
I mean, read it out first, and you may need to go down to number 11 just to highlight the ridiculous nature of this list. Should we do the films first and then carry? Yeah, well, let's do the film first. So, do you want to read us out let's say your top 5 films at the minute rather than top 10, because it's going to get longer and longer, isn't it, as we go along?
Well, it's only ever going to stay at 10.
Okay, all right. No, we'll stick to it.
Hashtag maths.
Yeah.
Read out your top 10, but do the first 5 because it's only going to be about 11, isn't it?
Anyway,
let's crack on.
Yeah.
So, number 1, I have Avengers at 9 out of 10. Lovely film. Number 2 is Iron Man at 9 out of 10. Captain America is at 3 with 8 out of 10. A Winter Soldier. So that's that one. Captain America 2. Iron Man 3 is 8 out of 10. At number 5 is Iron Man 2, 8 out of 10. Number 6 is Captain Marvel, 8 out of 10. Captain America First Avenger is at 7 out of 10. Number 8 is Thor, 7 out of 10. Number 9 is Thor Dark World, 7 out of 10. And Hulk is at 10 with 6 out of 10. What a top 10 that is. I'm impressed myself.
I was just thinking how close our top...
You said this about 2 episodes ago, and you went,
and then
it's
it
literally
went all
not...
downhill.
Yeah, never make statements that people are listening to.
No, I know. Okay.
Because, what does how does yours compare to mine?
No, it's completely different now.
Right, okay.
We're on 11.
I love recording with you two.
So I mean, this is the 11th film we're watching. So now it starts getting interesting because films are going to be starting to drop out of our top 10, which makes it a lot more difficult. Perhaps not now because you're Wanky Hulk to get rid of, which is a bit of a free pass. But after this, you've got to start making some tough decisions.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. But didn't I not say there was tactical reasons sometimes? And Hulk is one that's going to be that first one, because I'm not that precious over it. I did think it wasn't top one, was it?
So where's Guardians going?
So I'm going to give Guardians 8 out of 10.
Interesting.
Which is going to go above Captain Marvel.
So what number is that now then?
So
that's new number 6.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Wow, really? That's quite low down.
Well, no, it's only low down because I've got a lot of 8 out of 10s. And I'm also, you could argue, thinking ahead.
I can't believe you think that Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 are better than Guardians of the Galaxy.
I like Iron Man. I like Iron Man.
I do, but it's not better than Guardians of the Galaxy, is it?
Yeah, but you don't. Well,
I mean, get in touch, people, and let us know at
please,
the 2 marks.
And rate my list.
And we'll put a graphic up as well with these scores so people can have a look in a bit more detail.
I mean, the Latham logic applies here, which is...
It's not logical.
It is logical, but technically not appreciated by the people who haven't reached
Us minions.
self-actualization, which is Guardians of the Galaxy is an 8 out of 10 based on a group film. Iron Man is one guy who's amazing.
Oh, behave.
Oh.
Anyway.
Right, so are we going around the house now?
Let's do Pollard next.
Okay.
Do you know?
So we don't have to go last.
So I'll read mine now.
Never heard the end of that.
My films, as they stand at the minute, it was Avengers Assemble, 10 out of 10 as my top number 1. Number 2 was Iron Man at 9 out of 10. Then Captain America Winter Soldier, 9 out of 10. Captain America First Avenger, 8 out of 10. Then Thor, 8. Iron Man 3 got 8. Iron Man 2 got 8. Captain Marvel got 7. Thor Dark World got 6. And then Hulk, the shitty version, got 4 out of 10.
So, new entry at...
So Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm going to give 9 out of 10. It's very tantalisingly close to a 10, I have to say. It's nigh on a nearly a perfect film. I'm going to put it in at number 2.
Cool.
It's my second favourite movie, if not my joint. In fact, as I'm talking, I've just talked myself into giving it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
He impresses himself.
He's impressed me because given that you've given it a number 6 in your list and it's now number 2 in his list, that's quite...
You've got the fabulous balancing of weighty heartbreak and devastating story arcs to unadulterated humour, witty bants, sarcasm, all of my favourite things in the whole wide world. I just absolutely adore this film. It's just amazing. So it's going at number 2. Ish.
Yeah.
Upset me. I mean, that's, to be honest, given how much you gush about this film up to this point, I'd be very surprised if it's not something more in keeping with my rating as opposed to yours.
Okay, my previous...
Well, that would upset me because, of course, that doesn't work.
Okay, so my previous list was Avengers, 9 out of 10, number 1. Iron Man, 9 out of 10, number 2. Iron Man 2, 8 out of 10. 4 was Thor, 7 out of 10.
4 Thor. I saw 4 Thor.
5 was Captain America First Avenger, 7 out of 10. 6 was Captain America Winter Soldier, 7 out of 10. 7 was Iron Man 3, 6 out of 10. 8 was Thor Dark World, 6 out of 10. 9 was Captain Marvel, 6 out of 10. And Hulk was number 10 with 1 out of 10. The shit Hulk. So, based on my absolute love...
Well, can I guess Hulk drops out your top 10?
Yes. Where do you think my Guardians of the Galaxy go then?
Top.
I think it's going to be in the... You're going to give it more than 8 because I feel you gushed about it more. So 9 or a 10, yeah. And it's going to be up in the top end.
Final answer. Latham saying 10.
Well, because you prescribe too much to Latham logic, so it's going to be a 9, isn't it? Because you're weird like that. But I reckon it's going to be in your second or your third place.
It's going in at...
Number 1.
Number 1!
Fuck off.
10 out of 10.
You're welcome.
Well, you've got it in here as 9 out of 10 on the
Well,
list.
that's not updated, is it?
Has she thrown you false information?
Yeah, it's
'cause
false, is there?
somebody's checking my things when they shouldn't.
You two
Well, no, I
you
was
two
just
are funny.
looking then.
No.
So it's going in above Avengers Assemble.
This by far is the best film. I loved this film before I ever watched any other Marvel film, and I loved it. And I watched the other Guardians of the Galaxy. It's funny. I love the characters, and so this has to be number one for me.
I can't disagree too much with that, I have to be honest. I can understand why you feel it's better than Avengers Assemble.
This is my humour, this film, all over.
How do you feel about that?
It's the adjacent Avengers Assemble group teamy thing, isn't it?
But it's the funnier version. It's more me.
Okay. Well, no, it's funny. And don't get me wrong, if you look at the list of mine, I've got 5 at 8 out of 10. So they're all high up. I've just decided you can't all sit on one line, can they?
No,
can't.
but
No,
this
but you
one's
put
me
yours
only
on the
10
wrong
out
line.
of 10. This one's my only 10 out of 10. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's ranked high.
Okay, so I mean, it seems relatively non-contentious thus far. Let's open the Pandora's box for the
You
next
do your
bit.
magic on that.
Yes, so we're going to do our top 10 characters now. So just to reiterate, we can pick new characters when they're in the films. We can reorder existing characters when they're in the film. Otherwise, they have to stay where they are, and they will only move down the list if we put people above. So, Latham,
Let's have a look.
do you want to read out your existing top 10?
Yes. Oh, wait for it, guys. This is the moment you've been waiting for. I know you tune in for this purpose only.
I basically do. Go.
Oh, okay. So my favourite characters currently, number 1 is Iron Man, number 2 is Bucky Barnes, Oblique, Winter Soldier, number 3 is Loki, number 4 is Talos,
What?
5 is Red Skull, number 6
What?
is Aldrich Killian,
What?
number 7 is Trevor Slattery,
What?
Oblique, the Mandarin, number 8, Captain America,
Oh,
number
good
9,
Lord.
Agent Peggy Carter, and number 10 is Crossbones. Now, I don't know whether I'm continuing down this list.
Let me do 11.
11 is Ronan the Accuser, of course. You ask yourself, why is he there? Well, you have to make room for other villains, don't you?
Yeah, okay. So, where are the new people coming into your list?
I'm not putting Thanos on.
What?
Well, ball chin, innit?
Legit? You're not putting
No.
him in your list at
I'm
all?
just trying to think who I am putting on because I wasn't going to put
How
any...
could you put Ronan in from Captain Marvel for 2 seconds because you know what's coming and then not put Thanos in?
It's a big bad.
I know, but I just felt there was other people that superseded him.
I mean, I'm fine with that because I don't think Thanos deserves to go in at this juncture.
No.
You don't see enough of him. But that logic should have applied way back to Captain Marvel.
But no, because I don't always pick them based on those things. I pick on the likability of those people. So I think to myself, if
You
Ronan...
liked Ronan for all of the 5 seconds he was in the film.
I
He
just-
seems like a chipper guy.
I thought I could get down
A pie dinner with him.
Yeah, a pie dinner. So if I was in the frozen food aisle of
Waiting for
Iceland,
Peggy.
Do you think he's funny?
well, I don't
Along
think he's
with
funny,
Itch.
but he'd be like, "Oh, do you not think about?"
Oh, the lols.
No, he'd be like me. He'd be like, "Right, what do you think about people with prams in supermarkets when they're trying to get the shopping
Kill
blocking the
them
aisle?"
all.
And I'd be like, "Oh, aren't they arseholes?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, kill them all with his big hammer."
Yeah.
I was like, "You go, I'll smash that out of the way." And I'd like to get to the beans, and I was like, "Exactly." And also people who leave the trolleys and walk off to go and get other shopping 4 aisles away. He'd be like, "I'd smash that right up." And I go, "I'm with you there, Ronan."
So you two would be besties, basically.
Well, I'd probably go shopping with him so he could just watch him smash with his hammer trolleys, and I'd take and get the pound out though first of all.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
I would put him back in.
Okay, where are you putting him in?
I'd remove it. I'm laughing because he's going to have a thrombosis. I would probably remove Agent Peggy Carter and put him in at 9.
Well, you can't remove her. You can
Oh,
only
okay.
bump
Push
her
her
down
down.
to 10.
Oh, okay. Oh dear. Okay. So I lose Crossbones on the bottom then.
Yeah. I mean, let's just recap here.
I don't even know who Crossbones is.
Well, exactly. He's umming and ahhing over the guy who got the burnt face in Captain America.
Oh.
Winter Soldier.
Well, okay. Just shove him in at number 9 then. I'll have to just lose Crossbones.
Above Peggy.
So she's down because I'm going to lose her, aren't I, at some point? Just keep continue. And who else am I throwing in?
Peter Quill.
Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, Drax, Nebula, Gamora.
Nebula's good.
Oh, he'd just go for all the baddies, isn't he, still? Yeah. I mean, Nebula is a badass.
She's hardcore, isn't she?
And she's I
broken
don't
as
think
well.
she's as good in this film.
I think what I might do, going against all logic here, is I'm going to throw Star-Lord in, only because of the humour.
Okay.
Okay.
Where's he going?
He will go in at Trevor Slattery's position
Okay.
I'm going to lose Agent Peggy Carter now. I don't mind. For now, that is my list.
I can't believe Trevor's last reason.
Hashtag.
I mean, not even Rocket.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike the characters. They're just not worthy to be on my list. Because I'm not getting caught up in the merchandise side of things where I'm going to buy a fluffy toy of Rocket Raccoon.
Is it me now?
Yeah, it's you. Come on.
Okay, let me read my correct list. This is how a list should normally look. Number 1, Captain America. Number 2, Iron Man. Number 3, Black Widow. 4, Loki. 5, Thor. 6, Hawkeye. 7, second version Hulk. 8, Nick Fury. 9, Happy Hogan. And 10, Darcy Lewis. I mean, I appreciate the list gets a bit shitter towards the bottom.
It's such a hold hands and let's sing
Come by our. Yeah.
Totally, innit?
I mean, if you're going on a Sunday school retreat, that's who you take with you, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, that's a picnic, Sam. That's a picnic, isn't it?
It so is, though.
Or go and play bingo or whist. That's
Tra-la-la.
a whist. Yeah,
that's such a tra-la-la list compared to Latham's dark list.
Do you want to hear me amendments?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, brace yourself. Why are you laughing?
Oh, go on.
Okay.
This group going in.
Number 1, Rocket.
Yeah, good.
Rocket is me in the raccoon form. I'm going to not put me as number 1.
Oh, that's cute, isn't it?
Wait, so who does he... he's above Captain America.
So, Rocket's above Captain America, number 1.
Wow.
Peter Quill / Star-Lord's going in at number 2.
It's the whole cast of this film, isn't it? It's top 10. It's going to be the whole...
Because he's genuinely hilarious and just totally oblivious, and I love him.
Okay.
Going in at number 3 is Drax.
What the actual?
Because I just think he's hilarious. And
it's
again,
the Guardians of the Galaxy list, isn't it?
Yeah.
And number 4 is going in as Groot.
Shut up.
Well, he's
you have demoted Captain America to 5 with Groot above Captain America.
Yeah, so my now list is number 1, Rocket. Number 2, Peter Quill. Number 3, Drax. Number 4, Groot. Number 5, Captain America. Number 6, Iron Man. Number 7, Black Widow. Number 8, Loki. Number 9, Thor. And number 10, Yondu.
Wow.
What?
I know. I genuinely didn't expect I was going to do that when I was starting to write this list. I thought I might slot 1 or 2 people in, but when I started going through the main characters in this, I was like, well, they have to be in the top 10 because they're brilliant. They have to go in the top 10 because they're brilliant. And I'm thinking, well, where do I put them? And then, like you, Ish, I just thought they're so hilarious, but such rich characters at the same time. They've got to go in there. And I'm thinking, well, Rocket can't go above Captain America. Yeah, he can because he's way funnier. So, yeah, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like Captain America ain't going to be your friend anymore because you've been bigging him up for the last 10 movies.
So, just for the record, you put in 2 CGI characters, yeah?
Well, putting me...
above Captain America, yeah.
With a shield throw, he's just gone tree.
Yeah.
And a puppet.
I am Groot, yeah.
Wow.
What?
I mean, putting me Rocket persona on for a second, don't give a fuck.
Love it.
So yes, some wholesale changes to the Pollard top 10.
I mean,
but you successfully ruined it, really, because mine now is superior by far, because you've got a fluffy plush toy on there, a tree, and is Darcy Lewis still on there?
Oh no, she's been bumped down to 15th.
Right.
To be fair, I feel like
my list now goes down
65.
My list now goes down to 39.
Oh my god!
Bearing in mind, Ronan's not on there yet.
Well, did you put Thanos on there anywhere?
No.
Okay.
And you had to go at me for not putting Thanos on.
No, I didn't have a go at you.
Didn't have a go at me. No,
I should put Ronan. I just didn't get time to do Ronan.
I feel like you've redeemed yourself a little bit with this list, though, compared to the Tra-la-la list that you had before. I feel like this is probably a little bit more of a party I'd like to join.
Well, to sort of twist the
music, anyway.
To twist the Latham logic slightly, as opposed to trying to predict the future, I was voting based on films that came out, knowing full well I'd have absolutely ample opportunity to move them around wholesale when new films came out.
Yeah.
So there'll be another Captain America and I might make wholesale changes then. There might be more changes come the next Guardian film. This is the beauty of Marvel, and this is the beauty of this. You just can do whatever you want.
Well, apparently you can, but I can't.
So, Ish, how are you getting on with your list?
Okay, my top 10 were 1 Loki, 2 Black Widow, 3 Iron Man, 4 Thor, 5 Nick Fury, 6 Hulk, 7 Hawkeye, 8 Captain America, 9 Coulson, and 10 was Thanos.
I mean, let's not just gloss over the fact that Thanos is in your top 10.
For the same reason that Ronan was
having appeared for a fraction of a second at the end of, was it Thor? Dark World.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got excited.
And it was the Thanos that was the wrong colour, wasn't played by Josh Brolin, and didn't have a scrotum for a chin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that Thanos.
Infected coloured chin.
Who didn't say a single line.
No, he didn't.
But
He smiled,
grinned.
didn't he?
Yeah, he grinned.
Yeah.
Right, do you want to hear the new one now?
Well,
No.
Thanos is probably number one, going by the fact he actually spoke in this one.
No.
She's going to put in Rocket somewhere high up, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1.
That was because she loves me, and therefore she's going to love Rocket.
Is that your logic?
We've established this. Rocket is the raccoon version of me.
Be prepared to be a little bit disappointed. I've kept Loki at number 1 because, as far as I'm concerned,
He's
nobody is
cheeky.
better than Loki
Not
in
funny.
the MCU.
Not funny like Ronan.
No.
Ronan's not
Cheeky.
even on the list.
But Loki is my new Coulson, basically the love of my life, other than you, babe. Number 2.
behave.
Number 2 is Rocket.
Ooh, yes, nice.
Humour. I love Rocket for that. 3 is Star-Lord. So
Nice.
Pete
Oh,
Quill.
you see, I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't collaborated on this, by the way. A flawed 4.
4 is still Black Widow. So, sorry, 4 is now Black Widow. 5 is Iron Man. 6 is Thor. 7 is Nick Fury. Coming in at number 8 is Thanos.
Up 2 from 10.
So you've moved him up because what he said a word now.
Yeah, and it just makes me excited because he's the big bad.
It's an evolution, isn't it?
Number 9 is Yondu.
Because of his whistle.
Yeah, because I would totally have that.
I mean, I did it. I moved him in at 10.
And Hulk is number 10. I have actually added Groot and Ronin on here, but
They're outside your top 10.
Yeah, Ronin's at number 18 because he's dead, so I don't want to waste a thing. And I put Groot at 17 because I really couldn't justify giving a tree higher number because he only had 3 words that he said. So the fact that you put him in at God knows what, number 4. He's on number 17 on my list, and I don't think I can move him up. He's dead cute, but he doesn't say anything.
And also dies.
Well, he comes back to life though, doesn't he? But
Well,
I'm quite
post-credits,
happy with
yeah.
my
Actually,
top
no,
10.
but it's not him, though, is it?
No, what?
That's not him.
What? The new little Groot.
It's not him.
Oh, right.
He's a cutting, and
Of
therefore,
that.
yeah.
Different.
So he's technically a child of his asexual reproduction. The Groot that died.
Right.
That's the sad story that at the time James Gunn confirmed to all the fans is Groot was dead.
Right.
Long live Groot.
Right.
So, which Groot have I just put in on my list then? Because am I putting first Groot or second Groot?
I'm assuming first
I'm
Groot
assuming
because
the
that was
first one because the
the
second one literally is an after credit thing.
I know, but the
Dancing.
second Groot is very cute.
Did you literally just put the second Groot in because he was in for like 2 minutes?
Was he in the
No,
post-credit
not
scene
even
that we're not allowed to do?
I assumed
Did you
it,
just...
No, I assumed it was the same Groot, but it's not.
You put the same Groot in the after credit scene, but that's not allowed if I put...
Well, no,
Ronan
I
in.
might have to revise my Groot thing because I can't put a Groot that I'm going to have to keep bumping down. Because otherwise I'm going to end up with 2 Groots in my list, aren't I, at some point?
Well, you're going to have the
Groot 1 and Groot
adolescent
2.
Groot, yeah.
Smeg.
This just got complicated.
It did get
While
happens if
you're
you rely on a tree.
considering your choices, Lathan, what do you think of my top 10?
Oh, you're looking for some positive reinforcement?
Yeah, because you are the Marvel guru.
It's a good list, isn't it? Yours is a good big mixed bag. I wonder how
Is
it's
it
going
better
to
than Pollard's?
Well, the problem with yours and Pollard's is whether you're mirroring each other is you're starting to look similar.
Really?
Well, his recent...
No,
well,
you got Thanos in there.
yeah, but you've put a tree in. The only difference is she hasn't got a tree in.
No.
You would have put a sapling in if you'd had a chance. And
He doesn't have Loki in his... Is Loki in your top 10 now?
no, but you've got a mixed bag, haven't you, of heroes
Yeah,
and
He's in
villains.
at
villains.
8.
Yeah, he's
You've got a group of people who could successfully go to a picnic and have a few people, like going to a wedding for travellers. It would end in a fist fight. So you start off really well, and then someone goes, "You spilt my pint," and it ends in absolute destruction. That's what your list is, Pollard.
Yeah, well, your lot, someone would steal the picnic en route, and then there wouldn't be a picnic,
Well,
and
there
everyone would
wouldn't.
be sad.
We'd sell we'd steal the picnic and the car and sell it.
everyone.
Yeah, and slaughter and burn the woods down
Yeah.
and burst your football. So your list
That felt all too real the way you said that.
Your list is a better balance,
Yeah.
but I wonder how that will change with the new films coming through, because don't forget you've got Guardians Volume 2,
Yeah.
you've got some other group films coming together,
Yeah.
and we it's not a spoiler,
Yeah.
currently what films are coming out
In the future.
so
Yeah.
I wonder how your list is going to
Evolve.
because if you think he's finished, well, he's put 4 people on his top 10 from one film,
Yeah.
and Endgame has 40 characters. Can we say that?
Well, I mean, you can just do a wholesale change, can't you, come then?
So you're going to have a top 40. Be like the BBC Radio 1 thing.
Well, you can. You just have to spend an awful lot of time rejigging
by the
your
time we
list.
get to Endgame, it'll be Pollard's top 80, won't it? Because he's already at 30. The rest of us are still in...
well, his is
teens.
literally, if you had a Panini stickers album, every one of his characters is literally on his list.
I know.
39. I've got 39 on my list.
Yeah, what's on my list, though, that one that you constantly, weekly, every time we do an episode, criticise? Have I got like 15 on there or something?
I've got 18 now.
Right.
And you have got 18.
Yeah, but the ones who weren't in your top 10 now are Agent Peggy Carter, Crossbones, Abomination, Thunderbolt Ross, Whiplash, Pepper Potts, Nick Fury, and Happy Hogan.
I mean, to be fair, I'd probably put 2 of them on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, 32. You got 32 and we've got 18.
39.
39. And we've
but
got
you've
18.
got nearly top 40.
20 more.
But what I'm doing is when you've been doing yours, you've just been adding people with the idea that you just add into your top 10. And I've been on the list keeping a track of who then drops out of your top 10.
So
Whereas I've been doing that, but I've also been like properly putting all the major characters that I feel worthy of getting logged, and it's just compiling a bigger list.
See, words are coming out of your mouth, but I don't understand what you're saying.
For my benefit, I want to see where everyone sits. For the benefit of this show, people only care about the top 10.
Yes.
Basically.
Anyway, are you moving your group or are you not moving your group? Final
No,
decision.
I don't think I can. I have to stick with my original
So
decision.
is
So which
it
one have you gone
original
with then?
group?
Group 1.
Okay.
The OG.
Yeah, the OG.
Not the plant pot.
No, we haven't seen enough of. I mean, he's danced, but that's
thought
a
it
bit
was the
like
same one,
Thanos.
though.
Yeah, I thought it was the same one. Now he's not the same one. To put Group 2 in right now is much akin to putting Ronan in after Captain Marvel.
Group 1 is higher than Captain America. Wow. I feel like you just cheated on Captain America in a big way there.
Well,
He'll have to get over it.
Okay.
I prefer me wood. Right, guys, let us know what your top 10 would be thus far in the journey. We are genuinely interested. We would like to know what your top 10s would be, because we'd love to compare them to... and in fact, we'll read them out if you send them in. We'd love your comments on
who's
ours.
the best list?
Yeah, whose is the best list thus far.
Mine.
Yep. And
who's going for picnics and who's destroying the world?
who's breaking all of the rules and who's sticking to them avidly. Join us for the next episode, which will be Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yep.
Check us out on socials. Hope you've enjoyed the show, guys. Pleasure as always.
Tune in next time. Excelsior!
Get social at the 2 Marks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also check them out on YouTube.